The envelope was cream-colored, heavy stock, the kind of paper that costs more per sheet than my lunch. I know because I looked it up. Southgate Academic Excellence Scholarship Stationery, sourced from a boutique printer in Connecticut. $42 for 50 sheets!
No way. Full tuition, all 4 years. I got it. It's real. Don't lose it now. Just hold it. Oh my gosh. I can't stop shaking.
I was holding 3 years of someone's college tuition in an envelope that cost less than $1, and my hands would not stop shaking. My name was on it. Destiny Washington. Oh, 3 syllables. Not Desi, not the girl from Millbrook. Me.
This is real. Mom's gonna be so proud. Thank you.
That was October. By February, I would learn that envelope was never meant to change my life. It was meant to cover something up. Let me take you back to the beginning. Not the dramatic beginning, the boring one, the one that actually matters. I have been preparing for the Southgate since I was 14. That is not an exaggeration. My mother kept a whiteboard in the kitchen that also functioned as my study space, our dining room, and the room where she folded other people's laundry at 11 p.m. And on that whiteboard she wrote, Southgate, $40,000. Destiny. She never erased it. Not once in 3 years. The Southgate Scholarship was the kind of opportunity that didn't come to Millbrook High very often. $40,000, renewable for 4 years, awarded to one junior from the Tri-County District. 1. The selection committee reviewed GPA, essays, community involvement, and a live interview panel. It was rigorous. It was legitimate. It was the only path I could see to a school that didn't require me to take out loans before I was old enough to rent a car. And the man who ran it, who had run it for 11 years, was Mr. Gerald Calloway. Mr. Calloway was the kind of adult who made you feel like the room got warmer when he walked in. He wore the same 4 sweaters on rotation. He kept a jar of Werther's Originals on his desk like it was still 1987. He called every student young scholar without a trace of irony, and somehow it never felt condescending.
Destiny, this opening paragraph is excellent. You've captured the main idea perfectly.
Thank you, Mr. Calloway.
The transition is fine. Let's look at this evidence here. A direct quote would make it stronger.
He was the one who told me, sophomore year, that I wrote like someone who had something real to say. He was the one who stayed 40 minutes after the building closed to help me restructure my personal essay. He was the one who looked me in the eye and said, Destiny, you belong at any table you choose to sit at. I built 3 years of ambition on that sentence. I should have wondered why he said it with such certainty. He already knew where I was going to sit. He had already pulled out the chair. I found out I won on a Tuesday. Mr. Calloway called me out of AP Chemistry, which I will always be grateful for because we were doing titrations and I was about to ruin everything. He handed me the envelope in the hallway. Didn't say a word. Just stood there with his hands folded and that warm, steady smile. I opened it right there. Read it twice. Then a third time. I called my mom from the parking lot. She didn't say anything for 6 seconds. I counted. Then she said, Baby, we did it. We. She said we. 3 years of a whiteboard. 3 years of laundry folded at midnight. We. That was the last uncomplicated moment of the entire story. The rumor started 4 days later. Priya caught it first. Priya Anand catches everything first. She has the information metabolism of an investigative journalist and the personal filter of someone who has never once considered minding her own business. Which I mean entirely as a compliment.
Destiny, stop. We have to be quiet. Priya, what is it? You're scaring me.
Okay, so I'm hearing something, and I need you to not spiral. Priya, Connor Whitfield's mom called the district office. Connor Whitfield. 2nd place. Connor, whose father had donated the new gymnasium scoreboard. Connor, who showed up to the interview in a blazer that probably cost more than my mom's car. She's saying the selection was manipulated. That you got it for... Priya stopped. For what? Diversity optics. She's using the phrase institutional overcorrection. I felt the back of my neck go hot in a very specific way. The way it goes when someone tries to take something real from you and dress the theft in polite language. Marcus, who had been sitting on the hallway floor eating a bag of Takis with the energy of someone watching a nature documentary, looked up and said, "Bro, Connor Whitfield lost to you, and now his mom is calling the district? That is embarrassing. That is genuinely embarrassing for that family." He went back to his Takis. I almost loved him for it. But the whisper spread. By the end of the week, I could feel it in the way teachers held eye contact half a second too long, in the way the school counselor asked how I was holding up, in the way the local news van appeared in the parking lot on Thursday morning like a bad omen with a satellite dish. I went to Mr. Calloway. He leaned back in his chair, fingers laced, completely unbothered. That was the first detail I filed without knowing I was filing it. "Destiny, you earned this. The committee's decision was unanimous. Don't let noise distract you from what you've built." "But if there's an investigation..." "There's nothing to investigate. You won. That's the end of the story." He offered me a Werther's original. I took it. I ate it. I left. The end of the story. That phrase sat in my stomach like a stone for 3 days before I understood why it bothered me. It was Priya who found the first crack. She texted me at 11:47 p.m. on a Sunday. No greeting, just a screenshot. It was a cached version of the Southgate Scholarship District webpage from 2 years ago. Listed under previous recipients was a name I had never heard. Jordan M. Ellis. Awarded the scholarship junior year, 2 cycles before mine. I texted back, "So?" Her response, "Jordan Ellis doesn't exist. I've checked every public record database I can access without actually committing a crime. No Millbrook enrollment, no local address, no social media, no nothing. A kid won $40,000 and left 0 footprint." I stared at my ceiling for a long time. The wrong assumption I had been carrying, that this was about Connor Whitfield, about race, about who the committee thought deserved it, began to crack along its edges. Someone had been paid before me. Someone who wasn't real. I did not go to Mr. Calloway. That instinct, the one that said, "Not him, not yet," was the smartest thing I did in this entire story. Instead, I went to the district's public records portal. Scholarship disbursements are public record in this state. I didn't know that until Priya told me, because Priya had apparently been preparing for this moment her entire life. The disbursement records for Jordan M. Ellis's award listed a bank routing number. A routing number attached to an account that did not belong to a student. It belonged to a private LLC registered in Delaware. The LLC's registered agent, Gerald R. Calloway. I read it 4 times. 5. I got up, walked to my bathroom, ran cold water over my wrists the way my grandmother taught me when I needed to think clearly, and walked back. He hadn't rigged the competition against me. He had used me. My win was real. My scores, my essay, my interview, all of it legitimate. But I won in the year that someone in the district finance office started auditing the scholarship fund. And a real winner with a real name, a real family, a real paper trail was the perfect reason to stop looking. I was the alibi.
Calloway, you thought you could bury this. $40,000, Southgate, it's all here. Your secrets are done, I have the proof.
I wanted to walk into his office and throw the documents at his face. I want you to know that. I want you to know I stood in my kitchen at midnight rehearsing the speech, and it was a good speech, and my mother deserved to watch me give it. But I had watched enough people explode in righteous anger and walk away with nothing. I was not going to be the poor black girl who made a scene and got labeled unstable, while Gerald Calloway retired to Florida. I was going to be smarter than my anger. Just this once. I called Priya.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how furious are you?
14. Good. Here's what we're going to do. The Southgate Scholarship Annual Recognition Dinner was 3 weeks away. Every year, the winner gave a short remark speech in front of the district superintendent, the school board, local donors, and, critically, the press. The local news van that had been sniffing around the Connor Whitfield story would be there. I knew their reporter. She'd done a feature on my mom's dry cleaning business 2 years ago. Her name was Danielle Reese, and she was hungry for a real story. I contacted her, not with accusations, with documents. I gave her everything: the cached webpage, the disbursement records, the LLC filing. I told her I needed her to come to the dinner, ready to ask Mr. Calloway one specific question, on camera, in front of the room. "And what if he deflects?" Danielle asked. "He won't need to. The documents speak. I just need him in the room when they do." There was one more piece. I went back to Mr. Calloway the week before the dinner.
Thank you so much for your guidance, Calloway.
Of course, Destiny, I'm always happy to help.
I just hope I'm doing this right.
You're doing wonderfully. Keep it up.
Played the role he had cast me in. Grateful student, nervous about her speech, needing guidance. "Mr. Calloway, I want to mention the scholarship's history in my remarks. Previous recipients. Show continuity. Would you help me put together a list?" He smiled. That warm, steady grandfather smile. "Of course, young scholar. I'll pull the full recipient list tonight." He handed it to me 2 days later. Jordan M. Ellis. Right there, in his own handwriting. He had just signed his own confession and called it mentorship.
Jordan M. Ellis.
The night of the dinner, I stood at the podium, in the dress my mother had pressed 3 times to get the collar exactly right. The room was full. Superintendent Hargrove in the front row, 4 school board members, 11 donors, Priya and Marcus in the back. Marcus inexplicably wearing a tie, which told me he understood the gravity. Mr. Calloway was seated to my left at the dais, relaxed, proud even. He had no idea.
I remember standing there, heart pounding, feeling like everything was about to change. And in that moment, I found a strength I never knew I had. And I hope it carries you too.
I gave the first half of my speech. The real half. The part about my mother's whiteboard. About AP chemistry titrations. About what $40,000 means when you grow up in a house where that number feels like science fiction. People were nodding. Someone in the 3rd row was crying. Good. Then I paused. And I said, I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the scholarship's legacy, its past recipients. Because legacy matters. And sometimes, looking closely at the past is the only way to understand what's really been built. I looked directly at Danielle Reese. She stood up. The room shifted. That specific shift, when people sense something is happening but don't know what yet.
Mr. Calloway, what was your involvement with Jordan M. Ellis, LLC?
Can you tell us about Jordan M. Ellis, a listed recipient from 2 cycles ago, and the LLC that received their disbursement funds? The silence lasted 4 seconds. I counted. Something moved across Mr. Calloway's face. Not guilt. He had buried guilt years ago. It was the specific expression of a man realizing the room he thought he controlled had already changed hands. He opened his mouth. Superintendent Hargrove got there first. "Gerald, don't!" That was it. That was the whole thing. 2 words from a woman who had apparently been watching the books longer than any of us knew and was grateful someone had finally handed her what she needed to act. The investigation took 4 months. The full audit revealed 3 ghost disbursements across 6 years, $112,000, cycled through the LLC, withdrawn in chunks small enough to avoid automatic flags. Mr. Calloway resigned before they could fire him. The district attorney's office did the rest. My scholarship, my real, earned, legitimate scholarship, was confirmed, reissued, and increased by the board in what they called a gesture of accountability. I called it a start. I won't tell you I wasn't angry about the Werther's originals, about you belong at any table, About a man who looked me in the eye and told me I had something real to say, while using my realness as a shield for what he was stealing. The cruelest thing about what he did was that it was almost kind. Almost. He did believe I deserved it. He just also believed he deserved $40,000 more. My mother finally erased the whiteboard. She replaced it with one word. Next. I don't know if I'll ever sit in a room and trust it completely. I don't know if I'll ever hear the word mentor without doing a quick inventory. That's what this kind of betrayal leaves behind. Not a wound, exactly. More like a habit. A reflex. Eyes open? Always. But I walked into that dinner with documents in my hand and a plan in my chest. And I watched Gerald Calloway realize, too late, that the girl he chose as his cover story had read every single page. $40,000. Renewable for 4 years. Mine.